Good morning. I'm Janice Bourgeois Macumber. I'm from South Louisiana, Abbeville, which is about 20 miles south of Lafayette. I live in a Cajun country. Today we're going to be cooking crawfish etouffee from beginning to the end. It's one of my favorite dishes, and this is basically the end of crawfish season. It usually by mid-June the crawfish go into the ground, and so it's hard to catch them. So we like to cook seasonal food, and so today we're doing crawfish etouffee. We're going to start off because we're going to be doing about 3 pounds of crawfish tails. You start with 2 sticks of butter. In the old days, I used to use about a pound of butter, but somehow I'm watching my cholesterol. So I'm doing 2 sticks of butter, and I kind of like olive oil in mine. Again, I don't know whether it's because I'm Sicilian or whatever, but I put in 2 sticks of butter to about a cup of olive oil. And the vegetables we're going to use is what we commonly call down here the Holy Trinity. The onions, celery, bell pepper, and the resurrection is with the garlic. That's going to be the 3 main, and then the garlic. And also use some bay leaf. So what we're going to do is get this sauteing. You want it a little sizzling because you don't want to brown your onions too much, but you want your pot to be simmering and sizzling. I'm going to put in the onions. That's about 3 onions, 3 to 4 onions, because we're doing 3 pounds of crawfish tails. And y'all can see it's simmering like that. I always like to do the onions first. I like to cut the onions kind of coarse. Some people, my mother loved, once I gave her a Cuisinart, all she liked to do is puree. And she was a fabulous cook. So it's just a matter of if you like your vegetables chunky, do them chunky. Okay? And it's always good to stir a lot. Make sure everything's covered. And I got this on like a medium flame. Next, I'm going to put in the celery. Okay. And I got the rest of the Trinity. So we got the onion, celery, and bell pepper. And I like to use green bell peppers. Some people use red bell peppers. I like green. Because we'll eventually add some tomatoes, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. But the whole process from beginning to end takes about 45 minutes. And the good thing about Cajun cooking is that a lot of it can be prepared in advance. So if you're having a dinner party, you fix it around, if you can do it in the morning, that's great, or the night before. And then it sits, and then when the people come, or your guests come, all you got to do is heat it up. All right, then I'm going to add my garlic and bay leaf. And I'm lucky that I can get some fresh bay leaf off a tree. That always helps out. If you can get fresh, whatever, that's great. I have used canned bay leaf before. I have, bought some garlic in a jar. But, you just want to make it so that you're happy with what you're doing, that you know your pot, you know your seasoning, and from there, everything else will follow. Okay, so y'all can see how that's kind of sizzling good there? Okay. Rotel tomatoes, that's something in South Louisiana everybody uses, and it's great. You can get it anywhere. It's a Mexican thing, but it got a little spice to it. So I put a can of that. And I also been changing that up. I've been adding a can of diced tomatoes. I used to put 2 cans of Rotel, but I sometimes made it too spicy. So this way I do 1 can of Rotel, 1 can of diced, and I like to put cayenne in everything I cook. So see how pretty that's getting? So that's why I like to use the green bell peppers, because you're going to put some tomatoes in there. And I stir it a lot, and I taste a lot. But we're not ready to taste yet, but I'm just saying this. You want to at least have this kind of action going on right now. I think it's one of the most beautiful dishes. It's one of my favorites to cook. The one thing with seafood and shellfish, like crawfish, you have to make sure your vegetables are soft before you add your crawfish. So that's why I say this is going to, at your house, you want to spend at least 30 to 45 minutes simmering this. Now, I like to use Worcestershire. It's about 2 teaspoons, but I always say if you don't have a teaspoon or you don't want to do it, you pretend you got a plate. And if you would just season in your plate, you do something like that, which I think is going to come to about 2 teaspoons. Then, same way with salt. You just kind of want to, and you remember, you can always add. You can't take away. So be careful that you don't oversalt. You know. Now the only thing I am going to measure is the cayenne, because one time I didn't, and I dumped half of it in there. So I'm gonna measure this, and this is like going to be a teaspoon. You know, and I try not to over season. Like I say, a lot of people think Cajun cooking got to be so hot that they can't taste it, but not really. What you want to do is get that nice combination of the spices. And I basically, salt, cayenne, and Worcestershire are my 3 basic seasonings, besides the fresh vegetables that I put in a dish. I also like to put a juice of a lemon. With all seafood, you should use lemon. At least me, I do. And probably Bourgeois and Thibodeau do too, but anyway, I know I do. Kind of just heightens all those flavors together. And you see how that's kind of simmering? I think that is so pretty. Very simple, very relaxed, and like I say, if you're not relaxed, you can always get a little beat of beer. This is from Louisiana. Calms me down. I lowered the fire to medium low. And what I want to do here now is we're going to simmer this by at least 30 minutes, because you want those vegetables to be nice and soft, because once you add the crawfish, that's 5 minutes and they're done. So we have all that here. I'm going to put it, as I said, a medium low fire, and I'm going to cover it like this. And about 15 minutes I might taste it. But other than that, this is what you do until we're ready to put the crawfish in. This has been simmering about 30 minutes. Like I told y'all, it's going to be so beautiful when it comes out of there. Look at this. That is pretty. I'm going to stir it again. I ended up getting some parsley on my spoon, but that's all right. I've tasted it. It is delicious. So, I peeled all my crawfish. This is about 3 pounds of crawfish. And I'm going to raise my fire a little bit. I had it on low while it's simmering. So you want to put it like the medium, because this does not cook long. Put that in there like that. You want to stir it real good. And I like to add the parsley and onion tops now. A lot of people wait to the end. Me, I like to put it in with everything about right now. Because ideally, you want to cook this and let it sit for at least another 30 minutes, if not a whole day or a whole morning or overnight. Because the more the crawfish is sitting there, the better. But even 30 minutes is a good thing for this. And you see how pretty that's gotten? I'm going to stir it good. Put the fire up. I'm going to show you that in a second. See that bay leaf, that fresh bay leaf in there gives it a great flavor. Okay. Very simple dish. No stress. You can even buy tails if you don't feel like peeling your own. But it's a beautiful dish. We're gonna serve it over some white rice. Manhattan is made down there in South Louisiana. They package it there, so we're gonna probably be using that. See how it's kind of simmering? This is gonna be about 2 to 3 minutes there. Okay, we've let it sit here now about 15, 20 minutes. It's still as pretty as it was when I made it. We're gonna stir it a little bit like that. Like I told y'all in the beginning, I like to serve from the stove. I don't care if I'm using my sterling silver, my baccarat crystal. It's all done the same way. My friends bring their plates, and I like to plate it because you just know, you know, I hate to see waste on a plate. Some guys put too much, or and then I got some waste. So what I do is I always like to use white rice. A lot of people use brown, but me, I like white rice. And I use about, nice little portion like that. And if you got a green salad, that'd go good with it. Now, this is like a good bowl where you don't use all the juices. And I like to put one in the middle like that. See how pretty that is? I try to get some juice and I go around it like that. A little more juice like that. And that is beautiful. Talk about bon appetit.